This is the establishment where I worked for about 19 years.
Institute of Africa.
Yes, Institute for African Research, and I was a senior research member in this institute for nearly 20 years. So this is my alma mater. Okay, that's all. Вот самый главный антураж.
Barrel.
Это ведро. So, I continue my lecture, which I read in, gave out in Russian, but now I do it in English. And I don't have linguistic education, so I'm by education I'm a social anthropologist. But I studied as an amateur comparative linguistics for more than 20 years, with the aim of reconstruction of the Ur language, how they say. The first language, which I think existed, dating it by methods of glottochronology around 45,000 years ago. I think that it was created by a single person, by a woman. And this is my intuitive hypothesis. When I compare words from different languages, and I reconstruct the semantic ties between the words, I have a feeling that I'm tracking the mind of some other person. I try to or to grasp the associations of this person who lived 45,000 years ago. So this is my impression, intuitive impression, and I believe it. So how we do it? For instance, to reconstruct the first language, you have to compare the basic words, the basic vocabulary of the languages which differentiated very long ago. For instance, I tried to learn Estonian language 4 times, and I learned Malay language in the embassy, the Indonesian embassy, where they speak Bahasa Indonesia, and it's almost the same as Bahasa Malay, the Malay language. And so I found that there are direct coincidences in form, in phonetic form, and in meaning, in semantics, between Finnish and Malay words. One of these words is suku, which means gender or kin. The closest language to the Malay is Minangkabau. It's the language of the people who you must check that the level of the sound is enough. Okay. And these people, Minangkabau, they live in the Padang highlands in the center of the Sumatra island. This is the closest language to the Malay, and in the Minangkabau language, suku means the matrilineal kin. They are matrilineal people. So, but let's say compare some other words from Finnish and Malay. They are on the page of
Finnish or Estonian?
It's the same. If you may not find a cognate of Malay in Finnish, then you look for Estonian, because some these are very close languages, like Russian and Ukrainian. And so, since I learned Estonian, now I prefer to compare firstly Estonian words with Malay. But before that, I commenced with the Finnish. So, for instance, I'll give one example. In Estonian, raba is the swamp, or morass. In Malay, it's rawa, one word, raba, and the other is rawa, which means the same, bog or swamp. In Swahili language, the same word for the bog is bwawa. So you have rawa, raba, and bwawa. And I think that by the theory of probabilities, this is absolutely improbable that these words coincide in meaning and in form. Now, to know what languages to compare to achieve the aim of reconstruction of the first language, you must know very well where the ancestors languages of these living languages differentiated. And I think that the Malay and the ancestors of the Malay and Finno-Ugric differentiated around 20,000 years ago. And the languages of the Niger-Congo, to which belongs Swahili, like a Bantu language, differentiated from the Eurasian languages maybe 30 or 35,000 years ago. I mentioned the Eurasian languages. What is this? Which are the Eurasian languages? We have a theory of Nostratic Theory, which was proposed and proved by Vladislav Markovich Ilyich Svitich in the 60s, that 5 normal linguistic families originate from a single language, which he called Nostratic, after Pedersen, a Dutch linguist. A Dane linguist. Dutch is Hollandia, Holland. And, Denmark is where Danes live. And these linguistic families are Indo-European, Uralic, Dravidian, Kartvelic, and Ilyich Svitich included Semitic, Hamitic, or Afrasian languages. But later, some other linguists excluded this and said that this Semitic Hamitic is at the same level of depth as the Nostratic and the other family, which is called Sino-Caucasian. Maurice Swadesh, a famous linguist of the 60s, called this linguistic mega-family as Dene Basque, because at present it's proven, I would say, by Václav Blažek and John Bengtson, that languages of the Basques in the west of Europe and languages of Alaska, of Indians, Atapascans, and some other Nadene family are related, specifically related at the level of Sino-Caucasian. And the existence of the Sino-Caucasian was first proven by rigid formal methods by Sergei Anatolyevich Starostin, whom I met several times and discussed some problems with him. He is, I think that the by genealogy is the second to Ilich Svitic, Vladislav Markovich. But he died at the age of 53 because I think he smoked too much and didn't practice sports. This is my guess. And so he proved that the languages of the Northern Caucasus are related specifically to the languages of China, Sino-Tibetan languages, and so-called Yeniseian languages, which are languages of the people who lived in the middle flow of the Yenisei River, and they include 5 languages, of which only one half survived. It's the Ket language, but I remember Kot language and Pumpukol languages, which are related, the Yeniseian languages. But now I proceed to observe the composition of the North Caucasian languages, because these languages are of the people who live in Russia, in Russian Federation, and the people in the West do not know very well these people, and they are very many. They are in the North Caucasus. There are 35 languages, and actually we send a paper to the current anthropology, which is called Regions Based on Social Structure, and my chef, he said that we should name all these people in the paper. Well, I objected, but he insisted that we should name, just to show off before Americans. But now I give you a structure of the linguistic relations in this region, just to make it for the video. So, what people and what languages are present there? They are split in 2 groups: Western North Caucasian languages and Eastern North Caucasian languages. There are much more Eastern North Caucasian languages than the Western. But I'll begin with the Western North Caucasian peoples. These are Abkhaz, Abaza, Ubykh, Adige, Kabardian or Circassian, and so 5 people form the west branch of the North Caucasian languages. Then go the East Caucasian, which is split between one numerous group of languages in the Dagestan and the Chechen Ingush languages, just to the west. Between these Chechen and some other people, they live Ossetians who are in the European, Iranian actually they have, but let it drop. So I begin the naming of the Nach languages. So the languages of the which are related to Chechen language. Their name is Nach. Or Nochhi. So these languages are Batsbi. These are Chechen people who live in Georgia, in Pankisi Valley. Chechen language and Ingush language. And now I proceed to the more than 25 languages of Dagestan, which are grouped in 5 linguistic families. Avaro-Andean, the most numerous, Dargi, Lak, Lesgi, and Hinalug. Hinalug is the linguistic family which consists only of 3 villages. And some of the peoples here, for instance, Avar, they enumerate as they are so numerous as 800,000 people. almost a million. But mostly their linguistic relatives are not numerous. So I just named them. Andi, Botlich, Godobiri, Karata, Bagaval, Dindi, Chamaval, Avar. This is the Avar Andi group. And I proceed this group. Avar is the most numerous. Tsezi, Ginuch, Khvarshi, Inokvari, Beshta, Gunzib. And these are all from Andi to Beshta. This about I don't know 12 languages form the Avar Andean group. Then go two languages which are separate and which do not form groups. It's Lak language and Dargwa language. And the last, or almost the last, is the Lesgi groups, which consists of Lesgi language, Tabasaran language, Agul language, Rutul language, Tsahur language, Kruiz language, Budih language, Archi language, and Udi language. So Lesgi group is also numerous. And the last is the Hinalug, of which I already said. And altogether, here it's written 34, but actually there are 35. So so much for the North Caucasian languages, and I must ask how much time. So only 6. So since these are very differentiated region in terms of languages, only New Guinea maybe contains more languages per square kilometer. But the rest of my lecture, I'll devote to the principle of which languages I choose for comparison. These Sino-Caucasian, Semito-Hamitic and Nostratic form Eurasian languages. And once I compared them with the languages of Southeast Asia, for instance, from Austro-Asiatic languages, and I found that, for instance, one group, which is South Bahnaric languages, had in the basic lexics about 10% cognates with the Eurasian languages. And I told about this to Sergei Anatolyevich Starostin, but he was rather skeptical about my results. But in maybe in 2 years, he also accepted that they are related. And here I actually compare one language or two languages of the Nostratic, of Finno-Ugric languages, which are Finnish and Estonian, with the language from the Austronesian. And Austronesian and Austroasiatic are specifically related, which was proven in 1903 by famous ethnologist Pater Wilhelm Schmidt, on the basis of the three words. Mata, in Malay it's I, and in Austroasiatic I will be mat, then dog and boat. And so all people laughed at him, so how you can postulate the genetic relationships between languages on the basis of only three words. But now it's proven that I want this is my book in Russian about the comparative mythology. But I think that in the bibliography I'll find who proved that these languages are related. Unfortunately, I cannot find it very. But anyway, the linguist who did it proved that these linguistic families are related on the basis of the infixes in the Kar-Nicobar languages and in the Proto-Austronesian languages. He proved that they were identical in function. So now it's accepted that they were Austric languages, which unite these two families, Austronesian and Austroasiatic, and probably some other families like Miao Yao, for instance. And also I must say that Austronesian, it's not just Austronesian, but it's Austro-Thai, because the Thai-Kadai languages are related to the Austronesian. And Malay language is the most numerous by speakers of the languages of the Austronesian family. And so at present level, I add to these two languages, the ancestors of which diverged about 20, by judging by glottochronology, by 20,000 years ago. I add to them some languages from Africa, because I have three dictionaries at home, and the best is Swahili. And Swahili belongs to the Niger-Congo. And as we know, the languages of Africa, as Joseph Greenberg proved, consist of Niger-Congo, Nilo-Saharan, Khoisan, and Semito-Hamitic. And so that's it.